Whenever you're ready. Love that.
Ready.
Whatever happened to Cheryl?
Well, she's gone a bit quiet after the Girls Aloud reunion, hasn't she? Because, the baby daddy jumped off a balcony because he got too high on
Oh, God, yeah. Forgot
whatever.
What's his name? Liam
Liam
Payne.
Payne. Yeah.
Liam.
Liam.
And you're in pain?
Oh my God. Am I going to jump from a balcony?
Maybe.
I do have lots of scaffolding around me flat.
There you go. It could be happening. It could be you.
I'm too fat to shuffle on a bit.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the Horror Hour.
We
all go a little mad. Forget you.
Hello and welcome back to the Horror Hour, the place where we discuss, debate and disagree on all things horror. I'm one of your hosts, George, and today I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Liam. Good afternoon, morning, evening to you, sir.
Mabu hi.
And today we're going to be talking. So, if everything falls into place correctly, it'll be just over a week until 28 Years Later comes out, which is the most anticipated film of the year, apart from Wicked for Good. That's just facts. I'm just letting you know. It's just facts. And so we thought, well,
Facts, America.
They are. To celebrate it, we would reminisce with some of our current favourite, or at the moment, favourite zombie, infected, because I know some of you are like, I was one of those people, but now I'm like, just bitch, it's classed as zombie. You don't have infected films because that's just ridiculous. So, but the kind of that style of movie with virus, and weird, creepy people coming out after the virus. So I'm thrilled because this, other than found footage, is my to TBH, if I were to say,
bread and butter.
Yeah, zombie apocalypse. Zombies were the OG, like George's favorite subgenre of horror, and it was only as I got older then I started to delve into found footage, which obviously then became and go. I won't say, but one of my picks, both horniest film. I know Liam's absolute terror. So I'm excited to talk about these today. So I think, well, we should first of all, let's just start off by saying that there's different types of zombie films. There's comical ones, there's serious ones, and there's all in between. So I'm excited to see what Liam's picks are. Liam, would you like me
I have a good mix,
would you have a mix
of all of them?
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I just have the ones that I like, and whether they're a mix of anything, I don't know. I can't tell you because they're purely the ones that I enjoy. They're a mix of the things that are in my mind that bring me joy. So I might as well go first because we're talking.
I was going to say, just go first because we know which one's going to go first for you. So.
And of course, we are going to start with a relative one, and that is, well, no, actually, it's 28 Days Later.
Obviously.
I would say arguably it's a difficult one because I suppose it depends on what you deem as the best of something and how you categorize that. But to me, I would say that 28 Days Later is the best of its genre, in the sense that I think it came at a time when found footage film was found. Oh my God, I'm getting to found footage just because I was thinking found footage. Zombie films weren't really like a major thing, and they'd kind of, they'd had their time. Like the last the ones that happened was like, the Nightmare, Night of the Living Dead remake that happened in like 1990. That was kind of, we were at the helm of, and something that 28 Days Later did well was just bring it, like modernize it. And I think, it took it away from dead people walking and made it something realistic, which if you ever have a chance to check out Alex Garland's interview that he did, the ones where they talk about it's on YouTube, like they're past their work. It's like they do it on a lot. It's like some channel they talk about them. And he mentions about 20 Days Later and how he came to write it, and just like it's just really interesting. And he was just talking about how it went from, he was just looking at in infection rather than like the dead coming back to life and like viruses and I just think it really made it a lot scarier because it felt more real, because it was like, oh, yeah, that, you know, there could be a virus that sends people crazy. That makes sense. Also,
Yeah.
crazy is great.
No, it does make sense.
And I think it just, I mean, it just has so many iconic moments. Like from the opening, well, the pre-opening, I think's fucking great. Like when you are in the science labs with the monkeys, which by the way,
The laboratory.
it's so fucking loud. Like they're fucking like banging. Like that bit before the intro says 28 days later, and that last one's like boom, boom. I'm like, all right, Jesus Christ. I guess that's the point. They're supposed to have rage, but it just goes to show that you know, maybe
it's giving me a migraine.
it was. It's always good just to double check before you free an animal. I'm all for animal rights and you know, not what's on them. But when the scientist says like kind of starts
They've
to
been
say,
infected with something.
They've been infected with something. Why you would open the cage is beyond me. Like I feel like there could have been.
There's crazies on all sides of the political spectrum. You've got the MAGA cult, and you've got the crazy people that let infected fucking animals out of cages.
And that I love that actor. He's in a lot of like, I think he's in comedies and stuff in the UK, but the one who plays the science guy.
Oh,
like
yeah,
he's like
yeah.
kind of. I think I've seen him in like Alan Partridge and things like that in the UK. Like he's done.
Yeah, he's just one of them working actors. It's like everyone's like, I know him.
Yeah, but I always find it funny. Like
but his
when
name
I
eludes me.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's you. But I feel like you just. I'm like, damn, you're in 28 Days Later. Anyway, but then obviously the main aspect of the film, the opening going around London and that whole thing and the music, and that's
Killian's penis.
He
Chef's
gets
kiss.
naked a lot in this film, or his ass. He's quite well, and he's so hot in that film. It's just so amazing, and just the way the music builds as he goes like round London and just sees all this emptiness, and it starts to go from kind of this slow into like a high like momentum where he's starting to be from like what the hell's going on to freaking the fuck out. I think it's just like portrayed so well. And just the characters as well. I just think that, and of course, the reason it's so realistic is because, of course, at the end of the world, when there's a zombie apocalypse, the greatest hell on earth will always be straight men. And I just love that.
Always.
They will always be the problem. And I just
always be the problem. They've always been the problem. They remain the problem. They'll continue to be the problem. And you know them jammy bastards are going to make it at the end. You know there's a couple of them going to make it. And they're going to make it hell for everyone. Because God forbid their rights should be inflicted upon. I mean...
Yeah.
Put it in cells. Like, what more do you want?
I did fancy a couple of them, though.
Ooh.
I did fancy a couple of them.
Of course you did.
The one that says, what do you want, a fucking sweetie?
Yeah.
I don't like the character, but he just, like, I wouldn't, it just hit, like, just to look at. Anyway, sorry. Liam.
Yeah.
Please. Any thoughts on 28 Days Later?
I mean, I'm right up there with you. Obviously, it's great. It's a product of its time. Like, it was something new. It was something fresh. Obviously, looking back on it now, you're like, Jesus Christ. Tellies were shit back then. Because that just looked like a normal film then.
No, but they did also use, was it a Canon G1 or something? I think he did say that they wanted to use kind of not full, you know, because you think that came out in 2002 and like Scooby-Doo was out.
No, I get it. However, it was still like...
And it wasn't IMAX.
Well, no. But,
I know what you mean,
anyway, yes.
I like the artistic
But if you think... But what I think of it is, like, if you look at it now, you think of it as an artistic... It's like, oh, it's autistic. It's autistic. It's not autistic. It's artistic.
Yeah, it could be autistic. I like it.
A bit of both. Yeah. Like, you look at it and you're like, oh, it's artistic. Like, look how they shot this. And then you're like, we just thought that was normal then.
Yeah, but I think it does add to it because, again, it just fits.
It does add to it.
Like, it just feels... and it's gritty in a way you can.
You feel like you're in there.
Yeah, and it's a way of doing it without, because I know obviously you're not a fan of like found footage, but it's a way of making it a bit more realistic or kind of feeling like you're there or in that point, but without being handheld, like, oh, we're in it.
Yeah. No, yeah, get it. But yeah, no, I have the same feelings. Like, there's nothing really I can add. We've discussed it before. What you've said stands for me as well. It's great. It's one of the best. It shows a great example of British cinema at the same time.
Yeah. Music, the theme from it is iconic.
Perfect.
Although he's not coming back to 28 years later, which is, I assume they'll have the theme, but John Murphy isn't the musician for isn't doing the music for it.
I mean, to be fair, whoever's doing the music for it's doing very well so far.
We haven't seen the music. He didn't write Blue Boots, did he?
Well, no, I didn't know he didn't. But obviously, it's still like the composer. Like they still have to do all that stuff. They blend it all together, and picking that was an excellent choice. Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm waiting. Mm-hmm. I'm ready. I need it to. I need this. What, 3 weeks? 4 weeks.
It is now. And I think what's interesting about it is that, for the new one, just touching on that before we move on to Liam's pick, is that the trait, obviously, I mentioned it in previous episode, that, you know, the marketing for it's been brilliant. I just think what's so great is that nothing really, from what I have seen of the story, there hasn't been a major reveal of story lines and what's going where and who's doing what.
Literally, we know nothing.
Like, obviously, you can get like the light synopsis, which would be like, you know, oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson goes out with the kid and Jodie Comer's around, like, you know. But I think it's really exciting that we just have no idea what's going on, because the problem with a lot of trailers and a lot of horror movie trailers in particular in recent years has just been the full film on. And I know we used to do that in the past, but I feel like it's gotten worse recently. I feel like it's just.
I think we started to get better with trailers, and then all of a sudden they've just like slid back into
Universal
old ways.
Shows the film in a trailer, so it's, you know, but I don't know. But anyway,
apart from Wicked, for some reason, Wicked,
I don't know. They showed a lot of that. When I saw that trailer was 3 minutes. I was like, oh, they're showing both films, and then I was like, this is just the first. I mean, it doesn't bother me because I know what happens. So, but anyway, enough about trailers. 28 years later, make sure you go and check it. If you're excited for it, let us know in the comments below. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Could you care less? Are you going to wait for it on digital? Let us know in the comments below. And while you type that, Liam, why don't you tell us what your pick is?
Well, before I tell you what my pick is, while you're leaving a comment, why don't you also subscribe? It would be lovely. Thank you.
Why not? Because we will be talking about 28 years later in the weeks to come, in the years to come.
Yes, we will never stop. So I'm going to go with a different one. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go for my first pick. I'm going with Peninsula.
Okay, yes.
The sequel to Train to Busan. Mm-hmm. It was the 2020 release, but it all got scarpered because of the disease we do not mention.
The rage virus.
When the rage virus went around and made the Tories have house parties, I know not a lot, like, from when I've been like talking to people about it, not a lot of people really liked it, and I find that quite shocking. Like, I do understand when, like, some people's points when they're like, oh, it's a fun movie, but I don't really like it because it doesn't really feel like Train to Busan. And I'm like, it still feels like Train to Busan for me, because Train to Busan was, yes, it was smaller in scope because obviously it was just on a train, but obviously Peninsula is, well, what happened next?
Yeah.
And it's more action because it's, well, because that's,
like 28 weeks later.
That's just how things go in these situations. Mm-hmm. Like, at first it's very panic, small scale, because you don't know what's happening and everyone's just running around and hiding. Mm-hmm. And then it turns into all-out chaos, and South Korea's closed off. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. I liked that it got bigger. I liked that it was a blend of a zombie flick and an action flick.
Yeah.
I liked the way it was combined. I think the cast was great across the board. I don't have any standouts. I also probably couldn't say their names in an appropriate manner, even if I could say their names. And I don't want to offend anyone, so...
Fair enough. Yeah, I didn't mind Peninsula.
Oh, that's good then.
Yeah,
I think you're one of the only people I've ever spoken to that says they don't mind it.
I mean, like, I enjoy... There's not many zombie movies that I don't enjoy in some, because I'm like such a fan of the genre. So there's always parts of them that I like because they're either paying homage or, you know, you just like an essence. It's like slasher films, like, you know, some of them are shit, but there's those moments where you get like jump scare, you know, or like then some sort of, there's little bits that you expect in these films that when they come up, it's nice to see how that version, how they do it in their version, if that makes sense, like they're turning, or like how people are reacting to the zombies and the world that they now live in and things like that. And so I think zombie films are good. And I don't know, I think there are definitely some out there that do it better than others. That I think there's definitely room in the future, and maybe 28 years later we'll kind of push that forward in the storytelling. And I suppose The Last of Us, in a sense, has done this. Is kind of, they're just good ways to look at people and people's how people change in dramatic circumstances. And
and that was one of my highlights of Peninsula. I liked the fact that obviously they were going down that route so they could raid South Korea. I liked obviously going in there. I liked having the little area thing that was all, I wouldn't really know what to call it, because it's not like a gang, but like, you know what I mean, people in charge. Like the people that take over, kind of thing. I like that, having that situation. It's the same as with 28 Days Later.
Factions.
Yes. Yeah. You have the people that do the certain, like, you see how society would break down. These people that were already doing bad things are going to continue doing the bad things, but they're going to do it in a better way now, because this has allowed the things to escalate. Like with 28 Days Later, you've got these people in the army who, let's be real, most army men are dicks. And what their thingy of grandeur is, well, the world's ending, we're going to have to repopulate it and rape all the women.
Then after 28 days. It's not years. They haven't had years of being like, and the fact that, anyway, I could say, but the way that Christopher Eccleston says, what do 9 men do apart from, you know, wait to die themselves? They have an orgy. That's what they do. That's what men do. Look at the prison system. Anyway, carry on.
Exactly. So I like taking the grander scheme of things, like there's a zombie genre, and then putting in the human aspects. How would people react in these situations? Where would people go in these situations? What would this type of person do in this situation? And I think Peninsula is a very good look at not just a zombie action film, but it also has them really good human elements, and that's why I like this one so much.
Yeah, and I would say, like I wouldn't.
And I would just like to prove a point. It's in foreign, so I read the subtitles. So every time, so when Yutaka in the future turns around and says, "Well, Liam doesn't read subtitles,"
he did.
Thank you. I did.
Out of all the foreign horror films you could have watched, you chose it to be.
I watched Old Boy as well.
I'll let you off. You need to watch Wreck, but I know you don't like fucking things. Anyway,
no, I've seen Wreck. I just don't like it. I don't like found footage.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna pick.
Go on, talk about Wreck.
I'm gonna like connect to like a couple here, because I'm gonna say so, and it is. It's difficult to say. Wreck 1 and 2, I absolutely adore those films. I love found footage, obviously, as you know, and I would love more zombie found footage movies, TV shows, whatever. Rec 1 and 2 are, and Rec 2, I would even maybe say I prefer. I think it just like ups it a bit more. What I love, and this is something that I take issue, although it's like, George, I'll kind of explain what I like in a zombie film in order for you to understand why I'm saying this, is stuff like World War Z. I'm not interested. I'm really not interested in millions of CGI zombies catapulting over each other. I'm not a fan. What I like is you give me 5 or 6 infected people in a locked area. That to me is more horrifying than, for me, I'm like, oh, this is scary. Like, them all coming, I'm like, well, I'm just going to die, aren't I? When they're on that plane, and I'm like, we're all just going to die. So, like, and we're going to do it with terrible CGI. The best part, anyway, I will wait because in case you want to mention World War Z, but I will just say the best part about World War Z is when they go to Scotland when it's in the UK, and Pete Capaldi, and they're in like the little lab bit. That's the best bit because there's only a few of them and it's scary. So
don't get me wrong, I like World War Z. It's never making my list of favorite zombie films.
Okay, fine. So I just think I don't need big grandeur stuff. I think it becomes too Hollywood, too like, and I understand that's, because also I'm like, well, most people would just die, wouldn't they? Like, they wouldn't be zombies. Like, people are just going to die, So anyway, that's just why I'm prefacing that, is to say that the reason I like Rec so much is because I really like those confined, claustrophobic type movies with zombies. And I think having it like that just makes it more terrifying. You're like, bitch, there is, like, what are we doing? There's only a few of them. Like, it's the idea of we could maybe take them on, but we probably couldn't, like, ourselves. But if you know what I mean. So Rec 1 and 2 stunning. But the reason I want to say them is I also want to say a little honorable mention in this sort of
quarantine
footage. No, girl, get the fucking grip. Terrible. No, I'm going to say also in that sort of environment of found footage zombie films is Diary of the Dead. Love. What did you say? Ooh, for? It's a George A. Romero film.
There was a little flow that went across my screen. I was like, ooh.
Sorry. Zombies. But Diary of the Dead is also one of my favorite zombie movies. George A. Romero.
Was that his last one?
It was his last good one. The rest in peace, babe. But the one after that, Survival of the Dead, it wasn't great. I mean, but anyway, talking about Diary of the Dead, I really loved Diary of the Dead. Again, it's really on a small scale. There's like a group of actors. You can tell, it's done on a budget. But in 2007 it came out. But I just, and I think there's maybe like genuinely 5 zombies in the whole thing. But it's just the way they're used. And again, what I love the story, it tells, and that's what goes with a lot of these zombie films, is that, yeah, it's great to have those big moments, thinking 28 weeks openings and things like that, where you're like, oh, this is horrifying. But sometimes like I said earlier, it's just having those human moments where people are all just trying to come to terms with what the fuck's going on, and how everyone like just has a different reaction to, some people don't believe, like, this isn't happening, blah blah blah, and other people are like So I just think, and that movie does a really good way of doing it. And it has one of my fucking favorite lines ever, which is like where they're talking about, a human's obsession with dark things, and it's like they have like a narrator, because the idea is that they're making a documentary on what's happened, and she says, it's like when you see a nasty crash on the highway, we slow down, but we don't stop to help, we stop to look. And that's tea.
I will have you know, in America,
we stopped and looked.
Well,
we didn't
stopped
help
and looked.
Ourselves.
Nick got out and helped. We just sat in the car going, do we do something?
Well, it was America. We didn't want to get like taken back. So we just sat in the car in silence. But yeah, I did want to briefly just mention in that vein of found footage zombie films that Diary of the Dead is a fantastic one. But Rec Rec 1 and Rec 2, to me, I kind of put them on a par with each other. I didn't particularly like Rec 3 was fine, Rec 4 wasn't great, but Rec 1 and 2 are must-sees, and I would advise you, for people who haven't seen them, to at least watch those two. Watch them all. They're all fun. Like, it gets camp, like, as it goes on. Like, 3 is... You would probably really like Rec 3. It's very Liam. But Rec 1 and 2 are... like, you know, it's a woman in a wedding dress ripping it up and like with a chainsaw and like a short bob, and I just think, like, you know,
like a woman in a cunty bob. I mean,
so my next pick is like the first 2 Rec movies, if you were.
No, that's fine. You can group them together. We'll allow it.
What about you then? What's your next?
So my next one is a smaller one. And it is Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Okay, yeah.
I like it. I like the blend of humor and zombies.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's such a fun entry into the genre. We'd obviously, by that point, we'd already had zombie comedies, because we'd had Zombieland. So I do kind of think this one gets a little bit lost in the shuffle when it comes to the mainstream look of it. I just think it's such a fun way of looking at a zombie apocalypse. Like, a group of kids, and because one of them was in Scouts, they're gonna scout their way through it. And I just think that's such a clever take on a zombie film. I think Ty Sheridan is really captivating as the lead, and it is kind of what got him pushed a bit to the front when it comes to getting more roles. Like, obviously, I believe this is how he got Cyclops.
Oh, okay.
And he's just so good in it. And obviously, bless his heart, he tried in X-Men. But this proves that he can do it.
Yeah.
He just needs the material. And Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse really provides the material. It's gory, it's got scary animals as well. It's not just humans.
No.
So it's got all of the zombies. And I think that's wonderful. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I'm not always so as well. I have like a weird thing about, you know, comedy and horror. I know that although they're supposed to go together in my mind, and they do, don't get me wrong, they do sometimes, but I don't often frequent the horror comedies other than like Scary Movie or, you know, like and I do like some of them, Screams, like, you know, but you know, they're not my bread and butter. I don't actively seek out like crazy, like when I heard this, I was like, oh, that sounds like, you know, a comedy horror movie. So it took me a minute to get round to it, but I did enjoy it. Like, I really like I still haven't seen Zombieland 2 actually. But I really like,
So you haven't seen...
Oh no, I've seen that scene.
Queen... Oh, you've seen Queen Randolph.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
fine.
I like just watch that clip over and over again. But I've seen obviously like Zombieland. So I do like them, but yeah, it wasn't one that I wasn't gonna be in my top, because I think I look for different, like we say, like it depends on, you know, like anything, what people's favorites are, what you prefer in your movies. And I, you know, this is definitely
we all like, you're a found footage, grainy, gritty kind of zombie girl, like, and I'm like are they gonna squeeze a tit got zombie girl? Like, I don't know.
Squeeze
oh no, they bit her tit and now she's a zombie. Like, I don't know. I like,
I know what you mean.
I like gritty zombie films, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy them. When I was going through my list, I was like, this is a lot of comedy zombies.
But that's good, because it goes to show that, you know, between the both of us, you're getting a range you're getting the range of them because you're going to get the
The broad spectrum.
exactly, and you're going to get the comical ones. So if you're looking for either, you know which side. We're here to give you the range, basically.
Yeah, but obviously, like I would say, obviously, Zombieland is also on my list. I'm not going to talk about it because I feel like I've spoke about it quite a few times in the past.
But do go and check out Chu's reaction to Zombieland because he loved it.
Yes, good. So I didn't really want to like spend another 10 minutes, having already spent 30, talking about Zombieland 1. So I thought, well, instead of going that route, I'm gonna make Scout's Guide the one that I pick for this list because I think it deserves a mention.
Okay.
In line with Zombieland, because it's just as good as Zombieland.
Damn. Well, there we go, guys. You heard it here first from Lima herself. Well, thank you very much for that pick. So,
thanks, Budden.
I've done 3, by the way. I don't know how many you've done, but I just picked 3.
Yeah, do one more. We'll do one more.
This one isn't technically a film, but is just the best. And that's Dead Set. And
okay, yeah. Okay, I'll allow it.
It's a limited series, but actually they did release once a full. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes all the way through. You can watch it, so it's like the length of just like.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, it is. It's better written than some of the zombie movies.
If you sat 3 hours through Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, you can definitely get through this.
Absolutely. I haven't seen any of the Mission Impossible films, so I don't know, but sure. But yes, Dead Set. I've mentioned it a lot on this channel, and I don't give a shit if you're bored. I'll continue to mention it because it is one of the best pieces of television. It is by Charlie Brooker, who, of course, is the creator behind Black Mirror. It was kind of the original Black Mirror, as it were, because his version, for those of you who don't know, is basically a limited series which focuses on a zombie apocalypse that happens, and the only safe place, it seems, in the whole of the UK is the Big Brother house. And I just love that. Like, I think it was 2008 it came out, so I was, 14, I think. And Big Brother was on TV at the time. Like, it was on Channel 4, obviously, that's why it was there. And it was just, to me, I will never forget sitting in my front room, and I must have been watching something on Channel 4, and I had Sky Plusing through the adverts to get something, and I was like, I saw like this frame of Davina McCall, and I was like, Big Brother's not on, what the hell is this? And went back and watched it, and then was like, holy fucking shit, which I assume I would have eventually found out about that show, but it's just wild that like I could have skipped through and not watched it until later down the line. And it was great because it was 5 episodes, and they aired from like the 20th of October till the 31st, and it was one every night. And it was like the lead up to Halloween, and it was just so good. And again, it's good because and that one, definitely why I like it is another great, if you want to see how you think British people would fare in a zombie apocalypse, Patrick from that show is just like the most annoying person ever, but is just the best. And I obviously don't want to go to spoilers if you haven't seen it, because I would really love you to watch this show. But there's just he has a standout moment in the final episode that I'm just like, like,
why does everything keep coming back to Wicked today?
Of course, yeah. And he is also he wrote a play with somebody else. Andy Nyman is the actor's name, who he plays Elphaba in Wicked, called Ghost Stories, which is so fucking good. I'd really recommend that.
Oh, is he the one who
he wrote it? He was in the show, and he was in the film, which consequently came out. And he's doing a new one, which I think is coming out later this year, called, I think it's called, or maybe it's next year. It's some like it's got like a name like it's not like Ouija, but it's something to do with like, beckoning ghosts or something. So I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, sorry, but he's fantastic in it. And Jamie Winston leads in it. Ever seen Donkey Punch? Check that out. That's a film, and she's fantastic in it. And it's just it's a great line because that is although it's quite dark and gritty, it's also
It's so funny.
It's so funny and it is a bit camp. Like the characters are like
So camp. Pippa.
Pippa.
High camp.
Oh, he was a poo in a room and it stank. Like it's just like, do you know what I mean? Like you don't get that. We don't. Whatever happened to?
I thought Niall No Chill was in the room.
I know, yeah. But just so good. And again, it talks about something, and you can check out his Charlie Brooker's like interviews and stuff on it. And he was just like, I was kind of, it was on an idea on reality TV was so big at that time. That's when Big Brother was like really in its, and all it had
At
been
its
for a few years
highest.
then, but it was still going strong, and reality TV was still a big thing. And he was just kind of like, and he kind of wrote this story as in like, all these zombies keep turning up this Big Brother house, and he's like, why? But it's kind of just like, oh, it's an allegory for these zombies. Just we have become zombies, and we're just sat in our own house watching somebody else in a house, and that's like was kind of the allegory behind it, which is kind of where the Black Mirror.
All right, Charlie, stop reading us, Jesus.
I know. I was like, yeah, and so what? I'm watching your show as well in my house. So yeah, but I just loved it, and it's just, and that like they look like I have a thing with films with filters because obviously 28 Days Later very like, and Dead Set is like it's like they put like a grey filter on it.
Yeah,
like, everything's dark, which is the reason I like it because again, but it's also just
moody.
That's the UK. I'm like, it's just grey, and there's an Ocado van.
This is our weather.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, it's so realistic. So yeah, 28 Days. Dead Set to me is just one of my favorite pieces of media in general. And yeah, I would, although it isn't technically a film, I couldn't discuss zombies and not talk about that show because it is.
That is fine. That is fine. Well, for my last one, what I'm going to do is I'm doing something sneaky, and I'm mentioning two and mentioning it as a category.
Okay, like I did with found footage.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going. So my last two are Cooties.
Okay, yeah.
And Little Monsters.
And I was wondering when you were
Kids and Zombies.
Like, you haven't brought out Little Monsters yet, and I know you like that film.
Lupita Nyong'o is just so good in Little Monsters. She's just amazing. Like, obviously, she's already great in everything she does anyway. But she is so good in this film. And it still pains me to this day that it didn't do better than it should have. But the idea of her running around protecting these kids in a zombie apocalypse, top tier. It's fantastic. And at a farm as well. What more fun can you want? Exactly. And then you've got Cooties, which is the opposite. And it's not the teacher trying to protect the kids. It's the teachers trying to protect themselves from the kids because the kids have cooties and they're trying to kill the teachers.
as they should. No joke.
And Cooties also has such a good cast. You've got Elijah Wood, Alison Pill, that dude that was in that superhero comedy thing, Rain Wilson. Is it Rain Wilson?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I knew the name.
It was by Lee Whannell. Honestly, just anything Lee Whannell wants to do, I'm behind him 100%. He's so good. Because he did this, he did Upgrade.
Yeah.
Upgrade that he did. And then Invisible Man.
Yeah.
I still haven't checked out Werewolf just because.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I don't want the illusion shattered. I just loved the idea of what if the kids. Because usually it's like obviously with Little Monsters, the usualness of it is it's going to be an adult protecting the kids, or it's going to be a group of kids having to protect themselves from adults. You very rarely see it the other way around. And I just thought that was such a smart thing to do, and adding in making them obviously mini zombies.
Yeah, I mean, My favourite genre of that film would be the children. But
Booties. The Children?
yeah, the 2008 film, The Children. You've seen The Children, the British film. I've talked about this so much. Even David's seen The Children. I made him watch with what's her fucking name from? She was always on CBBC. Do you know? I think they're sick. They're not zombies, but it's like what you're describing is it's that. You would know it. You've never seen The Children. I've mentioned it on this. It's like, but you've never even heard of it. Like I've mentioned it on this show.
Oh, it's got Jeremy Sheffield in it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I have literally
Oh my god!
never heard or seen this film.
If you love those, you would love that film because it's just little kids getting killed by their parents.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry, it was just that it just reminded me of that, but that's more like. Again, it's on the grittier side than what Cooties is.
Oh, it's got Hannah Taunton in it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. She was on like in CBBC. What show was she on? Is it one with
EastEnders?
No, she was on a show on CBBC. You're probably too old for it.
Probably.
They lived in
but I can never tell which one's which. Because there's two sisters. One was in Hollyoaks and one was in EastEnders.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, are you thinking of Ka-Ching?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of, Ka-Ching. And it was in a block of flats, I remember, and they ran like a pizza thing. That was it.
Yeah, I just looked up a little IMDb there. Yeah, she was in Ka-Ching.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah. Oh well, so Cooties.
Oh, so she was the one. She was the one that was in Hollyoaks. So she did Hollyoaks. Then she went into the In-Betweeners.
Yes, that because she was in the In-Betweeners, wasn't she? Anything I forgot about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But anyway, that film's good. But sorry, Cooties. Yeah, I know that you like that, and I know you like Little Monsters as well.
Yes, love them both. They're just so ridiculous. Yeah, just ridiculous.
Let loose.
Yeah, come on, Lucy LaDuca. And obviously rounded out fucking The Last of Us. I don't care what anyone says. I'm really enjoying season 2. I just think it's marvelous television.
Yeah, I really, really like The Last of Us, and I think the games are really good as well.
I gave up on the games. I get to the same point every time, and then I get stuck, and then I get angry, and then I stop playing. And it's at the same point every time. It's the bit where I'm hanging upside down.
That's on the first one.
I know.
To be fair, my friend Josh, he was stuck on that for ages. He was like, what do you do? I was like, you just keep shooting. What do you mean? But no, the second one is actually my favourite. The Last of Us Part 2, the game, is my favourite. And
I knew what happened in Part 2. I watched the cutscenes because I was like, I'm not fucking playing the game after what happened the last time.
Grace Randall for the cutscenes.
So, yeah. But I'm not going around the internet throwing a hissy fit because it didn't play into my narrative.
That's true.
Even though I only watched the cutscenes.
Well, now you get to experience the show and get the extra detail. And
exactly.
It does feel like, with The Last of Us and now 28 years later coming up, that there could be a sort of mini renaissance of that sort of genre. I would like to round off by asking you kind of what would you like to see with the future of these types of zombie movies for you? Like what would you like to see more of now that we're kind of getting a couple more coming into the mainstream?
Actually, I'll just quickly add in, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make me list, but Army of the Dead for Netflix.
Okay, yeah.
I wish he'd been able to continue that. Because he had good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But then he got stopped.
Happens to him a lot.
Yeah.
I actually that was a really good film. And that was kind of crazy. That was my level of like, I'll allow it because I also allowed it because it was Zack Snyder. I mean, I would still say that Dawn of the Dead remake is his best zombie film.
Oh, great.
just like that opening, and that's another one that I would like. There's just so many, like I just love so many, but it's so difficult to try and pick them. Like as I say, it was just
well. I was going to mention Dawn of the Dead, but I was like, we've mentioned it before, multiple upon multiple times. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not gonna mention it here.
Yeah. I will, and I did.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's a great. And there's just so many. But yeah, what would you like to see more of? Anything else?
I liked the idea of that zombie baby, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, which was also in
a growing,
inspired from Dawn of the Dead.
Well,
originally in that.
Well, yeah, though obviously she had the zombie baby, but that's because the baby died during childbirth and became a zombie because she was a zombie because she'd been bit. Where obviously in this one it's different. I think it was a good idea. I would like to explore what if zombies could procreate.
Yeah, I think there's room now for, and I'm intrigued to see what 28 years later does with like how have these things survived for so long. You know, at the end of the first we were told that, you know, they were dying out of starvation. So how are they surviving? Are they different? You know, I think very interestingly in the trailer there was a shot where they all ran the tree and there's a few of them start running, but one just like walks slowly. And I'm like, so I'm quite intrigued by the idea of zombies or infected gaining some sort of consciousness or like ability to do more than just kill.
Yes, I like this idea.
But really what I'm looking for is just a decent adaptation of Resident Evil.
I mean, I would very much like that.
Because
I feel like we've waited long enough.
Now, first of all, don't get it twisted. The Resident Evil Milovic series, obsessed. Like
amazing.
Starts off so well.
Not Resident Evil.
No. Starts off well. You're like, oh yeah, it's inspired by, and then just goes like, and by the end of it, it's just absolute nonsense. But you're just like, sure, we're here. So we're 7 movies.
We're here. Let's just do it.
And look, at this point, sure, she's someone's dead mother's grandmother's version of someone. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we were just running with ideas, and I was like, do you know what? Kudos for just going for it. It's a bit like Russell T Davies. It's kind of just so many things, and nothing really seems to make any sense.
Throw everything and see what happens.
Just put them all in and see what things people gravitate towards. But no, I think I would definitely like, other than that was it, but I would genuinely really like a Resident Evil, like a decent Resident Evil movie.
Well, let's see what
yeah, who's doing it now? There's another one, isn't there, coming?
Him who did Barbarian.
Yeah.
Oh damn it, what's his name?
I can't recall, but while Liam looks at that,
I'm sure it's Krieger.
Something Krieger.
Zach Krieger.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So maybe he can bring us something. But I would also really like some just smaller. I would like another zombie, like some more zombie TV shows. Like they had Black Summer on Netflix. That series 1 was really good, and then series 2 kind of fell off. You probably didn't watch that, but I really recommend that. That was actually series 1 was a really good series. And I would quite like, again, just because I was talking about Dead Set, I think to have a short limited series that's set at the beginning of a zombie apocalypse would be quite fun for me. Rather than like, because I know obviously we have The Last of Us, but The Last of Us is very much, you know, like 20 years down the line after the infection. I would also kind of tie that in with, I want more zombie films that start, that just like are just chaos. It's the day it happens and nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Like people are raiding McDonald's. Like
Fireplace Day 1.
Yeah, like that's what I want. Like something like that, but with zombies would be stunning, because I feel like a lot of the time we play it with either
the opening of Army of the Dead could have been its own movie.
Oh,
it looked great.
Yeah, that was really, really good. So yeah, that's something I would like more, is kind of like the up to the minute zombie movies where it's like, it's just happening. I'm sat in my house watching Neighbours and
everyone on TikTok just get, oh my God, guys, this fucking bitch just bit someone.
Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they're like, we'll cancel you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Didn't vary that. But I am hopeful because obviously in the first trailer for 28 Days Later, there was a short excerpt that was set because they looked very late 90s, early 90s.
Yes.
So I'm intrigued.
Yes.
My hope, and this is what I'll finish off.
I wonder if that's what they were filming at Sulgrave Flats. Because Sulgrave Flats looks like a rundown piece of shit from the 90s.
Maybe. Well, I suppose they'll end up. Maybe that's where Jodie Comer's from. Well, I think Thingyu's supposed to be from Newcastle because he did have an accent in the clip that I saw in the head of the Thingyu.
Well, no, because in that clip that they've just released this week, there was someone like narrating over it, and they had a Geordie accent.
Yeah, I think it is supposed to be. I don't know where the thing's supposed to be. But yeah, so I'm hoping
it was all filmed up here, so I'm assuming
probably.
Fucking better be.
But my hopefulness for this film 20 years later, obviously it's had two big openings / scenes that happen at the very beginning that kind of stick in your mind, whether it be the walking through London, the opening of 28 Weeks Later, which again is a shout out to that because that film's great. It's a lot of fun, and that opening is one of the best openings of a horror film, I will say. It's just not one of my favorite zombie films. But I think it'd be great if the opening of 28 Years Later is set back at the very beginning of the virus. You have that.
I would like that.
And then it cuts to the card of 28 years later, because obviously then you go into it. So fingers crossed that's what we get. But of course, we shall see in due course. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below if you agree with any of our picks, or of course, please let us know what your favorite zombie picks are. I will see if there's any that I have not seen, because I'm always open for more zombies. You can give us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And as always, thanks so much, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Horror Hour. See you next time.